and political affairs analyst Fred Nziako as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight, everyone. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Last week, President Bola Tinubu and 36 state governors considered the creation of state police as solution to the security challenges like kidnapping and banditry. And as we speak, a constitution amendment bill to introduce state police has killed second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, which was sponsored by 13 members of the House, has enjoyed support from a majority of the lawmakers in the Green Chamber, who believe that concerns of political victimization by state governors should take the backseat to the current state of insecurity across the country. Nigerians are also discussing issues of collaboration, intelligence sharing, funding, training, and so tonight, let's get the perspective of Fred Nziako, a lawyer and political affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Nziako. It's so good to have you.
Thank you.
On Politics Tonight.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Good to see you too. You would agree with me that state police has been a subject of controversy since the 7th National Assembly, and interestingly, it has failed to make it through the amendment phase. First, do you consider this conversation we're having now as a major shift, considering that the previous administration never wanted to hear anything about the creation of state police? And is this also testament to the fact that the president actually listens?
A Chinese proverb says that the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago, and the next best time is now. I can tell you that the next best time to talk about state police is now, judging by the experiences Nigerians have had over the years, especially in the past decade. We have been talking about this issue of state policing, which is an essential ingredient of our federal structure, because we cannot be talking about a federation, whereas in practice we are essentially unitary in nature. If you're talking about a federation where you have 3 tiers of government, the federal, the state, and the local, you should know that whatever is good at the federal level is also good at the state level and even at the local level. But if we cannot bring the policing structure down to the local government level, we should at least bring it to the level of the state. Of course, from experience, we have had quasi-policing structure. What is left now is to formalize it and then give it the necessary teeth, give it the necessary legislative capacity to be able to function. And then amend the relevant section of the Constitution, which talks about the issue of police, especially Section 214 of 1999 Constitution as amended, which specifically says that there will be a police force for Nigeria. And the section also said that to the exclusivity of any other force, in which case that Nigerian police force will be one and only. And that is why all semblances of policing structure can never answer the name police. You have a Moteku, you have a Bebago, you have all manner of vigilante groups, and even the civilian JTF, the Joint Task Force. All these things show you there's no state in Nigeria that you don't have anything that can be likened to a policing structure. There's no state.
Absolutely.
Some of them are giving traffic assignments. Some of them are giving environmental assignments. Some of them are giving other assignments, like the vigilantes. But by the time you now have a formal structure of the policing system, it will answer the police, bear its name, carry out its duties and responsibilities, because the duties and responsibilities of the police force are: 1, maintain law and order in the society; 2, forestall and criminality; 3, punish those who are bent on turning the state upside down. This is the basic essence of policing. And if we say that the basic essence of government, that the major responsibility of government is the protection of life and property of the people, that simply goes ipso facto that the police force is a very essential aspect of the governance structure. Now, if you have it at the federal level, why can't you have it at the state level? Even when we are sharing our resources under the Federation Account Allocation Committee, the federal government will take its own, the state government will take its own, and the local government will take its own. What does the governor do with the one he has collected? Must everything be ended at the federal level? And that is why when Nigerians don't get what they are expecting from governance, they begin to look at Abuja, instead of first and foremost looking at their local government headquarters, and move from there to look at their state capital and ask the governors, what have we been doing with our money, with our location, and with our IGR? But everybody is looking at Abuja, because essentially we practice unitary system and call it a federal structure. It is not. And that is why it has borne several names. Some call it a pseudo-federalism, some call it a fake federalism. But whatever you call it, we don't practice true federalism in Nigeria. And we are not saying that it must be practiced immediately. The experiences of the past 10 years have shown Nigerians that we cannot undermine this immediate response, immediate requirement of having the state policing structure. Because you cannot, from Abuja, administer every nook and cranny of Nigeria in terms of policing.
Absolutely.
You cannot. It is unwieldy. Now we have between 350 and 400,000 policemen, all right, with one single command, the Inspector General of Police. Out of the 350 to 400,000 policemen, almost 120 to 150,000 are guarding VIPs. They are assigned to guard VIPs and some other politically exposed persons. You now leave the rest, give and take about 200 to 250,000 to do the entire work in a landmass of over 725,000 square kilometers, covering 774 local government areas and 36 states and FCT. So it becomes very obvious that we don't have enough, but we need more.
All right, so because there have been several reactions to this issue, I'd like us to put tonight's conversation into proper perspective.
Yes.
Why do we really need state police, and what can state police solve Nigeria's security problems? One,
why do we need state police? Because the federal police is not enough. That is one. Two, the federal police is incapable of solving most of the local problems. Every criminal has a locality. Every criminal has a locality. Every criminal comes from a family. Every criminal has a village. And villagers know who are the criminals in their midst. They do. The very moment you send someone from Abuja, let's say for example, you send somebody from Abuja, the man is a native of Kaura Namoda. You send him to Abagana in Anambra State, headquarters of Ujikoko local government. He now to do work in one village in Abagana. In the first instance, he will first have challenges of language to start with. Second, problem of geography. He doesn't know the terrain. Before he understands the environment, he has spent almost 2-3 years. If you spend, there's an adage in my place that says, if one uses 10 years to practice how to get mad, how many years will the person actually practice the madness itself? If you use 10 years to learn madness, how many years will you practice the madness? So if you now spend the first 3 years of your posting to understand your environment where you are going to work, how many years are you going to stay there? Before you know it, he's posted out. And that is why there is need for that collaboration between the federal police and the vigilante as of today. In most cases, the vigilantes who are essentially used for intelligence gathering, but because they don't have a formal structure, their reach, their interaction with the police is limited. In some cases, they are seen mainly as informants. An informant is a kind of derogatory appendage. But if you call him an intelligence officer, then he boils up his ego and he does the work and gives you the intelligence. Because by its establishment, it cannot bear some critical arms. And that is why you see the vigilante carrying them gun, How can you give a man a then gun to face a criminal with an AK-47? And you cannot give him an AK-47 because he's not a policeman. So there are so many reasons why we must begin to look at the issue of state policing. Now, the second reason being that we have always maintained that we have not met up United Nations statistical requirement in policing. In an environment where you have the per capita police availability in the country is almost 1 to 10,000. If you look at about 200 to 250,000 policemen, apart from the ones that are guarding the VIPs, that are available to the people to guide the rest of the 200 million people, what statistics does it give you? It simply shows you that we don't have enough. If you say, no, let us recruit more, you are increasing the burden on the federal government. Meanwhile, the federal government share of federation account does not increase. It is still static, 49% or thereabout. The rest of the 51% is shared between local government and the state. And the state will now abdicate the responsibility of guarding the protection of the people to the federal government. Now, the federal government will now be looking at its resources and be able to manage it so they cannot recruit massively. Meanwhile, at the level of the state governors, they have security vote. Ask every governor, what do you do with that security vote? A lot of them will tell you that they use it to support the police in their state.
Because one of the major issues a lot of persons have attributed to the creation of state police is funding.
Yes.
Do you believe that every state governors can actually fund state police?
There's no state government that cannot fund state police. There's none. All that is required is to appropriate the funds appropriately and lessen kleptocracy, lessen putting hand into the cookie jar of the state. And they find it easy because there are no responsibilities. When the responsibility of protection of life and property of the people have been taken away from them and handed over to the federal government.
Is it that there are no responsibilities or there are no consequences?
Well, no responsibility because there are no consequences. Both go pari passu. Federal government is taking care of the policing structure. Federal government is taking care of the army, the navy, the air force, the SSS, and the rest of them. What does the state governor do? You ask yourself. Yes, the state governor has his own responsibility, but like I said earlier, that the major critical responsibility of the government, any government, is protection of life and property of the people. It does not say only federal government, any government whatsoever, no matter how minute, no matter how large. So funding is an issue. And like I said, it is a funding that is not allowing the federal government to recruit policemen. When you say, oh, why not recruit people? There are many jobless and unemployed youth that are ready and willing to join the force. How do you pay them? How? When there is division of labor and the states recruit, if the federal government maintains their own between 350, 400, and each state recruits, even if it is 10,000 per state, that gives you 360,000 policemen extra in the system, and they will be paid with the state fund. When governors have more responsibilities, they will have less money to play and toy with. And the people will have more reasons to ask them questions.
Right, so let's go down memory lane. I mean, this was a conversation I also had with the former IGP, Michael Kiro.
Yes.
During the colonial period, most police were associated with local governments.
Yes.
They call them native authorities.
Native authority police.
Absolutely. So, however, in the 1960s, during the First Republic, these forces were first regionalized and
Yes.
then nationalized.
Yes.
Do you think we should have stayed that way?
Well, we should have. Even the experience has shown that even the system of government that we are practicing today, that it would have even remained with the presidential, the parliamentary system of government. The reverberations are now coming as at now that people are beginning to think that the parliamentary system would have been better because it is less expensive, it's closer to the people, and there are so many other advantages that they have itemized. But a bad workman quarrels with his hose. It is not the system that is the problem, it is the people practicing the system. The American presidential system that we have borrowed from America, we have taken it not wholeheartedly because we have left behind the juice of that system. And we are running, what we are running is unitary system, not even the presidential American system. Because the American presidential system is anchored on true federalism, anchored on true fiscal federalism. And without that true fiscal federalism, you cannot say you're practicing a political system. Why would we have a single Supreme Court, for example? One Supreme Court. And that's why when matters go to Supreme Court, some of them last as long as 12 years. Justice delayed is justice denied. So even in our justice system, we are having problem because of the system that we operate, which is unitary. And that is why when we talk about restructuring, I am of the school of thought that believe that restructuring should be holistic. And you now begin to look at, instead of 36 states, let us have 6. Because we have currently 6 geopolitical zones that are not recognized by the Constitution, but are recognized by administrative convenience in principle. And it is working for Nigeria. What it left for us is to convert it to administrative zones. Instead of having 36 governors, 36 houses of assembly, 36 judiciary, you have 666. And each zone is blessed massively enough to stand tall and grow and develop. That is the crux of the matter. So that when you come to judiciary, you will have Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. And instead of having one Supreme Court, we should be talking about 6 Supreme Courts in Nigeria. And that way, both our judicial system would be running fast, on track. Our policing system will be good. The development will come to the people. We now leave issue of external aggression, currency, and the rest of them, international affairs, to the federal government. And that is what will make Nigeria to develop. This thing that we pick the Constitution, we go and begin to look at the I's and to dot and the T's to cross. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about holistic structural change that will bring the development impetus to Nigeria. And it will affect everything. Now that is why you can begin to say the presidential system is bad. No, it is the way we practice it, because we don't practice presidential system. We are not practicing parliamentary system either. We are practicing a confused system that is neither unitary, neither presidential, and neither parliamentary. And that's why we need to formalize it, take it away from that confusion. If we are saying we have to stay on presidential, let us anchor it on true fiscal federalism. If we're saying we want to do parliamentary, let us do parliamentary the way we did it between 1960 and 1966. And Nigeria had the fastest growth in the whole of Africa. So these are things that we know. Right. And we have experience, and we can learn and improve the life of our people. So
still talking about the Constitution, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
With this current constitutional arrangements, are you sure that we're right for this?
There is nothing wrong with doing what is right at any time. And if anybody says or begins to argue whether we are right or not right, the argument of most people who argue against establishment of state police are essentially selfish political arguments. None of them can convince anybody about the issues, the core issues of policing, which is security of life and properties of the people. Nobody can argue in that direction. They will only tell you, oh, governors will use it to witch hunt their opponents.
Well, are these fears valid?
I mean, governors can use it to witch hunt their opponent. That is a selfish argument. Who are the opponents? The market woman in this village doesn't have opponent in government house. She needs security. The student does not have opponent in government house. He needs security. People are being kidnapped these days, left, right, and center, especially those who do not have the capacity or the wherewithal to provide private security for themselves. Why would somebody be traveling with an escort of about 12 policemen when you are a single individual? An escort of about 12 mobile policemen armed to the teeth. What for? Are you going to war? You are not. So at the end of the day, it is anchored on selfish political argument. The politicians are only looking at what will it look like. Now I'm in party A, that man is in party B. When he has the power of the police in his hands, what is happening today? Even with the federal police, are they not being used to abuse the people? So if you have two challenges, you weigh them on the balance and say which one is better. If one challenge is that the governors will use it to oppress their opponents, the other one is that it will help to secure lives and properties of the people, which one do you want? Obviously, the one that will secure the life and property of the people will be accepted. The one that is talking about abuse and using it to manhandle opponents, we now begin to find solution in that direction when we have solved one. Let us solve one and find a way to solve the other.
Right. So, Mr. Ezeako, do you also think this should be optional? And also, there are those who have talked about modified state policing. They said state-focused police controlled by the governors or checked by the IG. Is there any possibility?
If you want to have a state police, you have a state police. The modified version will be a corruption of the system. Already, the IG is having a nebulous task of securing the entire country. Now, if you now have state police and then anchor it again, tie it to the spring, apron spring of the IG, then you have corrupted the system. That's not state police. The state police will run exactly the way it is run in America. We have borrowed the American system. Let us borrow it fully and then see how it works. Recently, some people have started arguing that, look, this insecurity is too much. Let us authorize Nigerians to begin to carry arms. It is a statement born out of frustration. Frustration because so many people are losing their lives. So many people are not being protected. When you have state police, you won't think in this direction because the policing structure will come close to the people, very close to the people. Like I said earlier, every criminal has a village. And the villager or the tribesmen, they know they are criminals. And when they want to fish them out, they will fish them out. And when there is collaboration between the state and the federal, as it happens in most other advanced countries where you have strata of policing, the criminals will have nowhere to run to. Because if you commit an offense in Lagos and hope to run to Oyo, the network will fish you out even in Oyo. This international policing structure, which is Interpol, which now is the police of the world, we now have a miniature Interpol in our system, whereby you cannot run away from one state and go to another state without being fished out because there is robust collaboration. So any argument against state police will fall flat in the face of serious realities that we have on ground. If the whole essence of policing is to protect the lives and properties of the people, forestall disorder, ensure that those who commit crimes are fished out and punished, I can tell you, no right-thinking person will argue against the policing structure. Any other argument is a selfish argument.
All right, so, I mean, a few minutes to wrap up, but if we eventually go ahead with the state policing, do you worry about collaboration, intelligence sharing between state and federal police and the military?
If you want to drive to Sokoto from here, you don't begin to think about how will I pass Abuja. You think about how do I cross Shagamu. If you want to take through Ibadan, you go to Ibadan. From Ibadan, you go to Oshobo. From Oshobo, you think of going to Ilori. And gradually, you go to Sokoto. We cannot sit down here and consider all issues. Naturally, there will be issues, but they will be solved. The ones that are foreseeable by human intellect will be solved. The issues about whether there will be a clash of interest, or those are mundane issues.
Sadly, we have to go, but quickly in 30 seconds.
Yes.
In the meantime, how do we secure our state while we continue this discussion, debates, and proposals about the creation?
Well, the discussion and debate should be fast-forwarded. And then how do we secure our state? We have to ensure that even the current policing structure is enabled. That is one. If we have to recruit more people, let them do so. Intelligence gathering is key. There needs to be collaboration among all the security agencies, especially between the police and the SSS.
Mr. Fred Ezeako, a lawyer and political affairs analyst, thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you for your brilliant perspective on the program tonight. As we focus on President Tinubu's conversation with state governors on state policing. Thank you for joining us, sir. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, where the conversation continues from here, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Good night, everyone.
the new Happic sachets. It has a thick formula, so all you need is just one sachet for your toilet bowl. It gives 10 times better cleaning and big savings too.
Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Happic sachet.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise machines. Now, you have the power to transform your fitness journey and get the body you have always wanted right in the comfort of your own home. Total Crunch is the efficient and effective way to build muscle, tone and tighten your legs, shape your back and pectorals, while strengthening your core and defining your abs. Now that's totally effective to get the body you want. With Total Crunch, your whole body works out at the same time. Only Total Crunch can put your whole body in motion as you burn calories and lose weight. Just one fitness routine a week will achieve serious results in 4 weeks.
Total Crunch Evolution has enhanced the way I work out and the results I achieve. It's not just a fitness equipment, it's a life changer. This versatile, time-saving machine is perfect for anyone looking to lose weight or stay in shape. Trust me, this is a game changer you've been waiting for.
With my busy schedule, finding time to work out and stay in shape has always been a challenge until I discovered the Total Crunch Evolution. It's a lifesaver.
Traditional exercise equipment is large, complex, takes up so much space in your home, and you could be paying up to 400,000 naira for annual gym fees. Get the Total Crunch Evolution, the 2-in-1 fitness solution to save the cost and transform your body from the convenience of your home. Similar equipment costs 300,000 naira, but you can get the Total Crunch Evolution for not 300,000 naira, not even 200,000 naira. Order right now and get your Total Crunch Evolution for just 179,950 naira only. And that's not all. You can get our Total Crunch Evolution in 2 easy payments of 89,975 naira. That's right. Pay twice to get your Total Crunch. And remember, if you order now, you get the Total Crunch Evolution delivered to you for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. And it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. Call the number on your screen now or scan the code to place your order now. But hurry, limited stock available. The proceeding is a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
TVC News Weekend Lineup. TVC Breakfast Saturday with Kemi Fola Adeyemo and Emmanuel Ajayi. Political Standpoint with Precious Amayo. Newsweek with Mark Otabo and Jacinta Ugochukwu. Politics on Sunday with Femi Akonde. Community Forum with Sarah Yeku. Get ready for the biggest stories, fresh perspectives and burning news discussions that round up the weekend. Only on TVC News.
First with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Lagos State isn't backing down on the single-use plastic ban. Commissioner for the Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, asserts that the state won't compromise for a handful of wealthy business owners at the expense of millions of Lagosians facing the fallout of plastic dumping. This, among other issues, will be our focus in this week's edition of Green Angle. Welcome. I am Esther Mokwariola. And before we begin, let's bring you updates from the world of environment.
Leading a team of enforcement officials from the Ministry of Environment on an inspection tour, Commissioner for the Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, expressed concerns about the security risks posed by the occupation of the space under the Blue Rail Line bridge.
By Friday, the task force will start enforcement to clean up the whole place. And once that is done, we'll take possession and make it a park, so they don't have to come back there.
The team also extended their inspection to Parkview Estate in Ikoyi, addressing infringements on a secondary collector caused by buildings and fencing.
We are going to serve the proper notices on everybody to do the right thing. We also want to appeal to Lagosians that they should stop the use of styrofoam. We are very serious about it. The health and environmental hazard is costing the state. You can't quantify it in monetary terms. We've given them 3 weeks grace. The 3 weeks of grace is to enable us mop them up and account for them. So after 3 weeks, the enforcement will start.
In the meantime, the Commissioner emphasizes that the monitoring and enforcement of environmental laws will be a daily commitment.
Waste management poses a major challenge for megacities like Lagos. The ban imposed by the Lagos State government on styrofoam, commonly called takeaways, is to curb environmental pollution and promote a cleaner environment. However, there are varied perceptions about this development.
If we don't try something, we won't even know if it will work or not. But now that we have tried it, let's see how it can work and help our environment.
I think it would cause a little bit of hardship to those that are making money